I'm not allowed to because you are the person. That's fine.
Oh,
Can
no
you
worries.
send
I
it
can
to me
send you
afterwards?
I will
Yeah,
send you
yeah,
the recording.
yeah,
No
yeah, cool.
worries at all.
Yeah.
But anyway, I guess to start things off, how are you doing? I mean, like, where are you based? What are you working on? I mean, what are the three things you're kind of interested in speaking about today, I guess?
So yeah, I'm based in Norfolk. I work for a um we're a software company that make a CRM on top of Dynamics for recruitment businesses. But really what we've done is we've made a model driven app on top of it that does 90% of what people want. And then we are technically just a consultancy firm on top of that. We do a lot of bespoke work for different sectors. Some of our clients do offshore work, so they have a lot of compliance work going on. There's a lot of automation around that. Some
Hmm.
do executive search stuff, so they're very concentrated on who they speak to, how they speak to them. They want their data to be tip top. And then you've got the I'm not going to say spray and pray. It's not probably not fair. The more mass recruitment that just wants
Mm,
to speak to everyone all the time.
right.
Um, and our system totally encompasses all of that, really. Everything from like getting parsing CVs into the system to creating candidate records, contact records, job advert responses. We've got integrations with Broadbean, all sorts. And then towards the back end of things, we've got all the Power BI stuff, which is sort of more my area of expertise. In our we work in an agile fashion here. We've got a Scrum team, and I would say the Power BI expert. We've got three um, more traditional software developers. They're all extremely talented,
Mm,
and they do a lot of the more hard-coded JavaScript on top of the rest of our stuff and the APIs and implementations. And then I do functional consultancy. We've got another member of the team that does functional consultancy for the more low-code, no-code stuff. But yeah, that is me rabbiting on. I struggle
awesome.
to stop speaking. Sorry.
No, 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 please. No, please take the floor. I mean, and are you like a full-time employee or contractor?
So I'm a full-time employee here. My last two roles were contracting roles, but this is a permanent role. I used to work with outside of the Microsoft stack. I used to work with companies that dealt with Epicor and Salesforce, so a lot of ERP work.
Hmm.
Um, Historically, I've done a lot of Power BI work for those sorts of businesses. So, getting SQL out with SQL and data out with softwares that don't actually want you to know about their database. It's
Yeah,
the way
fair
to
enough.
describe it.
Makes sense.
You know, you learn Power BI the hard way when there isn't actually a SQL database you can look at. Not that
Yeah,
you can
yeah,
do
yeah.
that with Dataverse, but Dataverse is a lot more user friendly than some of them other
Yeah,
programs.
absolutely. I mean, that's awesome because I've always wanted to like increase my knowledge in Power BI because it's such a prominent part of the platform. And I guess you can say it's not kind of part of the platform anymore, but I always like to say it is because
Yeah,
it all kind of encompasses, I always like to say Power Apps is a good way to get the data in, and Power Automate is a good way to kind of transition that data, and then Power BI is a good way to kind of report on it, which is awesome.
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, when I was getting into this space, my mindset was if it doesn't work out for me, I'll just be a Power BI developer because I think it's such a, people really we need Power BI developers. So it's yeah, this is definitely one of those things for me. But that's awesome.
Yeah, Power BI, especially in recent times, has gone so much better. It used to be that you could probably get away with going to Tabular or something else if you wanted to do sort of the reporting stuff, but the
Yeah.
leaps and bounds Power BI has come forward, it means it's such an industry leader. And like you said, although it is part of Platform, it feels like a distant cousin. It still feels fairly separate.
Mm,
Like a lot of organizations use it and only use that as part of the Power Platform or just that in SharePoint.
yeah, yeah.
They don't necessarily have to put their feet all the way in. But it is so versatile and so there's so much to it. But then also, and I've had these discussions with my product owner, is that although it's sold as the whole low code, no code, Power BI has got that. But to truly understand it, you actually need to know its limitations and try and get around them, not using the whole
Mm,
low code, no code part of it.
mm,
Creating custom visuals using a lot of people use Vega and code directly their own called visualizations. And then it's just knowing um, how to write DAX properly. That if you know DAX, you can go anywhere with Power BI. Like,
that's awesome.
yeah, I love it. I've always been a maths orientated person, so analytics and all that sort of stuff came easy to me.
Yeah.
I say easy, but that was my natural leaning.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I guess a question. So you've been engaging, of course, a lot with my content, and again, thank you so much for that. That genuinely
You
means
haven't
a
got a
lot to me.
choice. I'm gonna comment on it unless you block me. You get on everything you say. No, no, no. It's
Keep it
just
going, man.
no, 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 no. I liked your content, and it was easy to comment on because of how like transparent you are with things, and the fact
Yeah.
that you've got that Witcher pop. I'm not gonna lie, it's in my top three favorite games of all time. So
Yeah, yeah,
you've
I
got
love it.
kindred
I love
spirits.
it. Wild Hunt's amazing. I swear to
Mhm.
God, I played that game like I played it on every difficulty, and
Mhm.
every time, of course, it got easier. And I remember playing it the first time, and I didn't like it, and I was like, "This sucks," because I couldn't get through any of like the monsters, and I was like, "This is terrible." But then, like with time, I was like, "All right, now I'm starting to get it," and it's yeah, it's absolutely incredible. I paid like I don't usually pay a lot for my pops, but I paid £30 for that one because I just needed it so much. But that's by far my favorite game. But that's
Mhm.
awesome. I mean, on that, because you're obviously engaging with the posts and you are predominantly, the Power BI expert within your space, are you
Mhm.
trying to look into getting into more of the business application side of things, the Power Apps, Power Automate, or are you more just trying to get a decent understanding of it so you can apply it back to Power BI, if that makes sense?
I, it's difficult because I want both, but I know both isn't necessarily achievable. So
Mm,
I want to improve all of my understanding of the Power Platform. Like I want to
okay.
get to a really decent level on all of it, but
Mm,
Power BI will always be my specialty, and I'm always looking to be current with that. Like
mm,
I will continue to push and want to do more in Power BI always because that is I like to think of myself as a generalist who just happens to be very good at data is how I like to look
mm,
at it, and that's how I'd like to
yeah.
stay. So knowing more about all of Power Apps is great, but I also know that there's only so many hours in a day.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. 100%. 100%. I mean, if I was trying to do everything that was on my mind, I don't think I'd have any time at all. So I think it's a case of like balancing your priorities and what you need. I mean, I guess because I want to give you the most value I can in this call, do you have any specific questions for me, or was it just a kind of a to gauge an understanding of where to get started with the goals that you have? Because obviously we're in the new year, people have new goals. So I
They
guess
do
kind of what's
indeed.
your mind with that?
Um, I find it very interesting. I've followed, well, I've not followed. I've retrospectively followed. I've gone back and looked at all of your stuff rather than I was there from the beginning because I won't pretend I was. Um,
Yeah.
and looked at your journey and looked at several other people who've gone through the whole MVP thing recently, and it's fascinating about how it is so community based. And I didn't even think about it at the time. I thought MVPs before even looking into it was just, oh, they're very, very good at what they do, or they
Mm,
speak at conferences and all stuff like that. It's not. It's far more all encompassing than that. You are supposed to be, you know, someone who you can talk to, not just on the Microsoft forums, because the Microsoft forums are all good and well, but unless you're the first person to speak on something, you're normally someone with decent AI skills will have asked ChatGPT for the answer
yeah.
anyway before you, especially nowadays. So it was more just like if you had to start again now, knowing what you'd done, what would be your path to getting MVP again? So if
Yeah.
they took you off you by accident now and they said, no, you're gonna have to do it all again, what would you do? That's what I
Yeah.
want to know, really.
It's a really good question. I'd say the first thing to keep in mind is a mindset thing. I think people think it's harder to get than it is. This is me being completely transparent, by the way, so
Mhm.
please take this any way you'd like. But I think it's much easier to get in than people think it is. After my MVP application. So the way you actually get an MVP award is someone has to nominate you who is already an MVP. And someone reached out to me and was like, I'd like to nominate you. So I had no idea that that was part of the process. I thought it was just a case of Microsoft are going to see what I'm doing and I'll get an email in my inbox one day, but that isn't the case whatsoever.
Mhm.
So I definitely say it's not as hard as it looks to get into the program. I think it's purely a numbers game in the sense of if you upload content, like let's say I like to say the bare minimum is 3 or 2 times per week.
Mhm.
You will 100% get your MVP in 12 months. Like that is without a shadow of a doubt in my mind. And the content can genuinely be about anything. It could be about what you're learning. It can be about Power BI integrations that you found with business applications, Power Apps, Power Automate, um, and it can be anything along those lines. Now, I think where people struggle the most with being an MVP is the consistency. As most of us with anything we do, it's difficult. Like today, I was going to the gym, and my God, I was like sitting on my bed for like 30 minutes, just procrastinating to not go to the gym because it's so cold outside. But it just kind of goes to show that the consistency is the hardest bit, just showing up. And I think people really make it hard for themselves by the types of content that they produce, right? So I used to make this series, you may have seen it, called Solution Sunday, where every Sunday I would put like a custom JavaScript solution and put it on my blog and put it on my LinkedIn and get some engagement. And those posts tend to do like 20 likes, 30 likes, some even got 10, some even got five, some even got two. And those kind of articles would take me hours because I'd have to have a solution in my mind, then I'd have to kind of do it step by step and show the pictures and the screenshots, and then I have to write about it. So it was really long to kind of get that. What I found is people like short posts and short snippy content much more than long articles nowadays anyway. Like if you can give someone a little bit of value in a shorter amount of time, the engagement goes way up in comparison to you taking a lot of time to do like something longer to read, like an article, and the engagement's a little bit, lower down. Now, with that being said, there's a lot of value in doing articles like for SEO, etc., and that's like a whole nother thing you can get into. And sometimes it's like, sometimes you want to write an article, sometimes you want to put a lot of thought and process into something that you've built. But I definitely say to get over the consistency hurdle, do small things that give people small bits of value very quickly. Like if you see in my posts, for example, the graphics, like they're very simple, right?
Mhm.
It's just kind of, step by step how to do something. And someone could take a look at it and say, oh, that's cool. And they'll give you some engagement. And to be honest, if more MVPs are seeing that engagement, you're more likely to build that community, more likely to get nominated, and more likely to get your MVP at the end.
Yeah, yeah.
So I definitely say, to kind of summarize that, it's a numbers game. So prioritize consistency. Just say, hey, I'm going to commit to doing like 2 to 3 posts per week. I'd say that's a good minimum to kind of start with. If you want to do it every day, you can do it every day as well. And try and limit kind of the friction between you making those posts as much as possible. So try and make those posts take you like 30 or 40 minutes rather than 2 hours to write, for example. And that will help you with that consistency journey. So I hope that helps in a nutshell. But I'd say if you're going to take anything out of what I just said, it's a numbers game. Just stay
Mhm.
consistent with it every week, and get something out there, and people will eventually recognize you and start nominating you, which is an awesome experience.
I definitely see the value in the longer written form as well as the shorter form. The shorter form,
Mm.
we live in a society where everyone wants a quick fix. Everyone's looking at, small things. We've all got tiny attention spans.
Yeah,
And I
yeah,
get
yeah,
that. And the graphics you use are informational, and you can get a lot from them in a very small amount of time.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Like, and even if they only look at like, okay, what are those end three steps, or what are the first three steps? Like, someone's going blank into Power Platform, they look at your first step, bang, that's all they needed to know. Like,
yeah, yeah,
if they
yeah.
do that, then they can move on.
Right.
Whereas the articles and the longer pieces, once someone is more established and wants a proper guide on something, they can look at your history and what you've done, and
Mm,
it's almost like a catalogue of things to go back to.
mm.
Um, I I write a lot of my stuff in Obsidian. I'm trying to do the whole second brain thing. I don't know if you're familiar with it, the whole
I
Zettelkasten thing.
I
Yeah,
love
yeah,
that.
yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah,
So I've been doing it for a while, but I'm now doing it more of a. I'm going to put every single part of my life into it to actually see the connections flow better. It was mostly
cool.
like what I was reading and anime lists that I was doing before, and my cats and my children. That's what I was writing about mostly. But now it's more all my learnings. I set up over Christmas. I actually did a bit of a geek and set up a JavaScript that called OpenAI's API. I gave it some prompts and I gave it some questions that it has to ask me, and then it will create something for me from the end of it.
Mm,
Um, just as a thing, and I did some my daily notes. I've done a new template for it that asks me a series of questions and then links them and does the tags. Like because I
mm.
work in sprints at work, it'll ask me what sprint I'm in, what am I doing. So now I can sort
Awesome.
of go back on the tags and look at those things. Your name is popping up far too much now. I won't lie. You'll get your own little bracket of it.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, I definitely see the positives of both the whole longer format and the short format.
yeah.
I hadn't considered how important the shorter format is, but I can see that, especially like the post I did yesterday. It's got more impressions on it than my last 10 put together, which is a bit of a joke for me.
Yeah.
And then also the most traction I've ever got is the comment I did on yours to say, hey, you need to
Love
do
it.
either 2P or 200 or 400. So
Yeah.
many people requested me and looked at my profile because of that. And that's just,
Amazing. Love
yeah.
that.
So I am slightly piggybacking off you and I appreciate it. Like
No,
that's
no, no. Piggy bank away. I mean, look, like if you see anything in my posts, leave a comment. I honestly love engagement, and I love that you're engaging with it. And sorry, that's the part I missed out. Like, be active on it. I used to hate social media. I have to say, I used to absolutely. I didn't have anything last year or 2 years. Sorry, 2 years ago, I didn't have anything. I didn't have Instagram, LinkedIn, not properly anyway, and I wasn't engaging a bit. But if you're engaging in this post, more people start seeing your name around, and you've
Mhm.
probably seen a lot of people's names around because they're engaging in LinkedIn posts as well. So keep doing it. Keep piggybacking at all. Like I don't see it as piggybacking at all. So please just keep doing it. But
Yeah.
yeah,
And that's how I got onto so many much more conversations through actually looking what you were talking about, who you were
yeah,
talking to. So like you did that podcast, I've obviously now spoken to, I'm not going to remember their names. No, I'm going to say Shield guy and Hawaiian shirt guy, but they both wear Hawaiian shirts. But like,
yeah.
and now I've messaged both of them and had a joke with them, and it's there's also Sean, the guy in America that does the solutions architect thing, and then there's
Yeah,
is it Pares? I can't pronounce his name.
Harvest.
Yeah,
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 he's
yeah, yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, and it's just like each one of you guys all comment on other people's things, and I'm seeing so much better content on my LinkedIn because of that as well.
Yeah,
Um, and that's really nice to see. And especially just everyone's own points of view on Microsoft because power platform is massive. No one knows it all, and it changes so often that you just can't keep up with it. So just
mm,
having like there's another guy I follow that is really deep into like the Copilot stuff. And some of the stuff he's been doing with it and looking at it's been amazing just to be like, actually, I know how that could help a customer of mine. And we all like to upsell consultancy, don't we? Let's face it.
yeah.
That's what puts food on my kids' table.
Absolutely.
But yeah, it's been fascinating. And I'm not saying you're my favorite. You are technically, but not in a weird way. Oh God, this isn't my chair, and the back doesn't work. Oh no, feels like I'm
Oh
laying down.
gosh,
Um, I hate that sitting in someone else's chair. It is always a horrible feeling.
it's never
Um,
right.
no, it's never right, never. And I'm quite a bit taller than everyone but one of my colleagues, so it's I feel like I'm at a child's chair. Um, um, Sorry, I've lost my train of thought. This is a little bit insightful into me. I've got ADHD and autism, so sometimes I get lost on things.
Yeah, yeah. No worries at
Let
all.
me come back. But yeah, you are technically my favorite because of the way you speak to people and the way you do things. And it's funny. I see so many highly polished posts and everything out there, but generally you write exactly how it comes through. You haven't gone onto ChatGPT and asked it to fix your grammar or your spelling or anything crap like that. We all do spell check. We'll look at it, but you just post and it looks authentic. I don't know how much you ask ChatGPT to help you sometimes with an idea or just to fluff some things out. I think everyone does at some points, but your stuff
Absolutely.
actually looks genuine,
Yeah.
and then some of the responses you get actually look genuine as well. Because I see a lot on LinkedIn at the moment of AI generated comment with AI generated comments, and it's like
Yeah.
it's just robots talking to each other. We might as well
Yeah.
set
Yeah.
up Twitter bots that would just talk to each other for a while. We've been seeing that for the
That's
last
a
10
really good
years.
point. That's a
You
really
know,
good point.
to actually see genuine engagement underneath your posts is another thing that drew me to you because it's real people talking to real people, which is you can't get many other places right now.
It's really important to me, and I think what's super cool about making content nowadays, and it sucks a little bit, but in a way, it's an opportunity for others. It's because people are honestly lazy, and that's
Mm.
okay. And it's a case of, people want the quick wins and they want to make a post and they want to do it quickly. So they go on ChatGPT and they copy and paste directly and they put it in. And there's more people making content than ever, but then there's more sucky fluff content than ever, if that makes
Mhm.
sense. And
Yeah.
I genuinely feel like if you put effort, if you put time and consideration into your post, even if it takes you a short time to write, if it's authentic, if it's genuine, if people see that you've actually done it and you haven't catted it from anywhere, even if you have copied it from somewhere, you've given credit. Um, it just gives all it makes all the difference is what I'm trying to say. And I'm really trying to make all of this power platform stuff accessible, because when I got started it was really difficult for me to like I wish someone just gave me a roadmap and say, hey, this is where you are and this is where you can be if you do all of this in the middle. And that's why a lot of my content is kind of roadmappy type stuff. And yeah,
Mhm.
that's kind of the plan. And I guess, I'm just trying to say, if you have any questions, if you have anything that you want to know, give me a shout on LinkedIn, give me a message. Sometimes the messages get buried, so if I don't reply to you for a few days, just re-message, say, hey, I just messaged you, etc., etc. And I can help you with whatever you need. But again, I wanted to do this call because I've seen the engagement you've been making on my post, and it's been awesome. And of course, I wanted to help you in any way I can. So yeah, again, if you have any questions, give me a shout, and you can even ask them here. We've got some time, so yeah, that's kind of what I've got.
Fair, fair. I appreciate it. I'm actually going to share my screen and show you something just for that Obsidian thing because I'm now that I've thought about it again. So the
Let's
post I
see.
did yesterday that actually got a lot of traction. So it's this isn't the template. I will show you the template afterwards. So um,
Mm,
these are the prompts that I give myself, and it comes up as
cool.
like a little. In fact, if I close this, open it again. So this is the template I've done for asking my daily questions of myself. It
Mm,
asks if how am I feeling today, if I'm happy, sad, or whatever, all that crap. Um, how did I read yesterday? I go through like a daily checklist with myself. So my daily log is a bit like how I would do agile. Like, what did I do yesterday? What did I do today? What impediments do I have? You
I
know,
love that.
go through, and then what happens the next day is it checks all of what I had and what will I do today, and then says, "Did you do it yesterday?" And I have to actually physically tick it to hold myself accountable for that. If not, I then have to
Ah,
keep putting it back in here. Um, so that's how I kind of keep track of that. I obviously need to go back and fluff this out a bit because I haven't actually filled it in. But um, so the API, what it actually does initially is ask, no, the template asks me these. They come up as like a pop-up question. So if I do a new rough note and then go template error. Oh, wonderful. So is it working day? Yes, it is. Working from the office. Screen number is 201. I weigh 1,000 kilos today. Did I have a drink? Yes. Did I do any reading yesterday? No. And then it obviously then populates everything. Um, I don't know what I've done with my template. Clearly broken it, but it will come up with these questions. So, what is the purpose of the post? I want to create something because I saw a particular person looked at my profile up to comment on anything, and their whole headline was just full of bloody emojis. I'm like, that for me is a bit cringe, but is it okay?
yeah.
Ask me who the audience is, key messages, supporting points. I attached a screenshot of two people's thing. One of them happened to be Pyrus's. One, the hook, call to action, and hashtags. And then the next bit it asks, although it's not here, it asks if I want to use my own writing to show a like a template to do it, like giving the prompt, "Hey, I want you to write like I do. Here is an example of my writing."
Mm, mm,
And that's how I tailored it. So I did two tests. The first one is to not use any prompts other than this. No, write like I do, not anything like that. And I came up with one that was honestly, you could tell it's fluff, you could tell it's crap.
mm.
And then the second one is I wrote 75% of this, put it in as the prompt and say, can you just like add a little bit to it?
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and that's actually a part of the template. I don't know where my template's gone. I'll have to get it back up. I'll even send you a copy of it if you want it. But
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Let me see it.
ones that actually gave it out, and this uses the Open API, and basically for these two tests, it cost me 5 cents. Like it was,
Oh,
yeah, it's really cheap to do it.
love that.
And because it's in Obsidian, literally ask me those 6 questions. I've given it access to my history and my memory, as well as my whole Obsidian vault, so it knows how I write, and it'll write
Oh,
something
nice.
based on my tone and how I like to do things. And
Love
what it
that.
output, this has gotten 10, 15 times the engagement, well, impressions at least, that any of my other posts ever have.
Mm,
Obviously, whenever it gives me something, I read through it and take bits out. Like I hate the I see a lot of on ChatGPT, especially it gives you that really long line between things instead of a comma.
mm,
I don't know
mm, mm.
where that's gotten that from. Like I think it's here, yeah. I
Yeah.
hate it, absolutely hate it. But people use it.
Yeah. It tends to
Uh,
be a dead giveaway as well that
Yeah,
someone's
yeah, it does. Yeah,
yeah,
or
generated.
the overuse of emojis just randomly. Like the rocket ship one. Anyone
That
using the
is
rocket
dead
ship one,
giveaway.
yeah, yeah. And
You'll
it's just
probably find it in some of my older posts as well because I was like, oh, I like a rocket ship. That seems quite cool. But now I try not to put it because it's just really
yeah,
cringe.
yeah. I used to use it, and then it's like, oh no, now every bot is telling people to use it, and it's just like crap. Or like the
No.
celebration one. The celebration one is
Mm,
on everything. The
mm.
whole party popper one.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
but yeah, so basically, I get some of my ideas, post them in that, look at it, see is that good enough? Do I then want to edit it, and then do I post it? That's generally
Yeah,
how I go about things. For the shorter ones, anyway. For the longer
yeah.
ones, I've got a bank of like we've got one note of work. I've done like I don't know 30, 40 different guides on Power BI for our customers on certain things that I will eventually get around to.
Hmm.
Making pretty and putting on the internet as well.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, that'd be awesome. I mean, like, I love that you're using these frameworks, and I love that you've got like a system where it can understand the way that you write and actually generate that for your posts. So that's really, really cool. I was always hoping I could use something like that. I mean, it's just an insight into some of my frameworks, and it seems what you're using works amazing for you. But something I use on a consistent basis is hook, retain, and reward, and I use that throughout all of my posts. So the hook you've already got is obviously the first thing to hook the person into the post. Retain is you've kind of got different ways that you can retain someone. So you, for example, you've got a story, you've got lists, you've got this is effectively just getting someone to keep consuming your post. And then you've got the reward, which is the most important bit. So I think the key to anything on LinkedIn, key to any engagement on LinkedIn or on any platform is what does the person get for consuming the post that you've created. So for me, it tends to be like a roadmap or cheat sheets or anything along those lines. For you, it could be some advice or it could be, a prompt, a discussion, a poll, anything like that. What does the person get for consuming your post? And I think that's the most important thing throughout any post. The hook has to be really good. You have to keep them engaged, but rewarding them even before they've read your post. So if you see a lot of my posts, there's like a big kind of document attached to it, like an infographic. So it's already rewarding them before they've even engaged in my post. And that's super useful as well. So that's something I use. And if you'd like more information, I could send you some resources, but that tends to work quite well for me as well. But like excuse me, like I said, we've all got our different ways of obviously creating the post, and that seems like it's working for you, so that's amazing. I mean, I guess a question I have is this something you're looking to do more consistently? Are you looking to obviously put this into your daily routines, your weekly routines? Is this something that you're aiming for 2025?
Yeah, massively so. Yeah, that
Yeah,
is that is number one thing for me at the moment, if I'm honest.
that's awesome.
And it's yeah, it's I've kind of got to the point where I flirted with the idea of doing different things, and it's just like if I
Mhm.
don't fully commit to something now, then I'm just wasting my own time a bit. Um,
Yeah.
and it's if I go full in and I fail, that's fine. At least I tried.
Mm.
Like
Absolutely.
um, I found the code snippet as well. Let me just send it to you.
Please do.
That's the title. Do you use Obsidian or anything like that?
I don't use Obsidian. I use Notion, and Evernote,
Yeah.
and what else do I use? I think Notion and Evernote are my big ones. I really like Notion, um, when I need like more complex things, but I like Evernote as like more of a lightweight. I just want to make a note, type thing. But I've read the books on the Second Brain. I think it was Tiago Forte who released that book, which was like absolutely
Yeah.
blew my mind, which is awesome.
Hmm.
But yeah, and I've been trying to do that more consistently. But yeah, it's super important for me to keep things organized, like because obviously we work from home and we work from the computer, so it's super important to keep all of those notes in one place. And honestly, any systems or anything like that, if you post those on LinkedIn, I will absolutely like consume all of that content because I'm a huge geek when it comes to that stuff. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, do you struggle for ideas on content?
Um, I struggle to know if the idea I've got is actually suitable for what I want it to. I have so many ideas. I have too many ideas, and I
Mm.
don't know if they're like I generally ask my partner to read through some of them, and she's like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" And like to be blunt, she's like, "What? Why are you talking about this?" It's like, "Don't know. I thought
Yeah.
it was cool." Um, so I struggle to actually have ideas that I feel like are work appropriate or LinkedIn appropriate. Like
Mm.
I've got I wouldn't say unique sense of humor. I like to take the piss out of myself. I like to have a joke in the situation when I'm talking about things. Obviously, if it's
Yeah.
like an instructional guide how to do something, I don't. But most of the time, I can't take things too seriously because at the end of the day, although LinkedIn's for professionals, people treat it like Facebook and Instagram anyway. Like you see it
Yeah,
all
yeah,
the
yeah.
time in things. Like so, I kind of if you're not taking the mick out of yourself and you aren't looking at yourself through that sort of lens, then you're probably taking yourself too seriously.
I agree. I
Is
think
how I say.
humility is super important. I mean, like just off this conversation, you said you spoke with the people on the Sprint Zero podcast, John and I believe Mark. Did they offer to have you on or anything like that? I think you'd be an amazing guest.
Oh God, no! I
Honestly.
think I'd be an awful guest because I just talk and I don't know how to shut up, and I'll just be looking at fucking walls. No, no, no. I haven't, but I could. I might say, oh, I spoke to Handang, and he says I need to be your next, your next
You
talking
can
to.
do that. No, I can set an introduction because I know they've been super heavy, and thank you for being open about your neurodiversity, by the way. And I know they've been super accommodating for that. They wanted to make it, a space where people can speak about that stuff. And John Russell, particularly, he has ADHD as well, and he's
Yeah,
quite
yeah,
open about that. So if you reach out to him, say, hey, obviously I'm looking to build my Power Platform knowledge. Howden sent me a message. How I spoke with Howden, he said I'd probably be a good guest because this, and this, and you can say that. You can be open about your neurodiversity as well, and say I could probably be a good guest for the show, and that could give you I really that was my first podcast, and I think it helped me because it gave me a bit of confidence in front of the camera. And I think
mm,
doing this, I love this. Like doing it over text is really cool, but I'd rather give you 45 minutes of my time and speak like this, get to know you, form this connection, and obviously, like if you're at any events or anything, we'll get to meet each other and I'll recognize you and be able to call you by name. And I think it'll help you obviously get that confidence out there and get you out there on LinkedIn and give you kind of that catapult to say, oh, people can actually get to know who Duncan is. And even for me to get to know you a bit more personally, I think it'd be an awesome watch. So definitely reach out to John. If you like, I can make the introduction. Just let me know. And I think that'll be a great episode.
thank you. I appreciate that. And yeah, no, I
Cool.
do agree. Although I like, I feel like text is so simple and quick, like to have
Yeah,
conversations with people, but having like a call just so you can see how someone speaks, their mannerisms, just how they like to converse. Like now
yeah,
I've spoken to you like this, I know I can speak to you a little bit more casually now that you can kind
yeah,
of have that back and forth because some people
absolutely.
can't have that conversation and
Yeah.
that is how they are. Like I prefer to talk to everyone like they're my friend or my family because
Hmm.
that's how I converse. That's how I understand people better. When it's too formal, I kind of I get then so caught up on how I should speak to the person that I forget to actually speak properly and be a part of
Hmm.
the conversation.
Hmm.
So yeah, and I no doubt I'm going to send you a load of crap that I think is cool, and you're going to be like, this guy won't leave me alone now.
No, no,
What's
no, no, no. Don't send it away. Honestly, like I'd love to see your growth. And I think you seem committed. You seem like you have the drive. You have a good base. And I feel like a lot of Power Platform developers, including myself, are looking to break into the Power BI space. So hopefully you can be the one to bridge that gap. I think that'd be absolutely
Oh,
amazing.
anything you want in Power BI, I'll give it to you or show you about.
That's awesome. Love that.
It's yeah, it's so such a wide space as well. Like, it really depends on what you want from it. Like, I've done reports that so I worked for a client that all they did was they took drill bits and they dipped them in metal to make them harder. That's all they did. But
Nice.
the logistics and the specifications and all their fancy mathematics in their system was amazing. I've never
Yeah.
seen anything cooler,
Yeah.
cooler in my life. It's a bit nerdy, but and the stuff they wanted to build in Power BI reports because they were mathematically minded, they were engineers. They wanted some really clever stuff, and that was some of the best stuff I've ever done.
I mean, have you ever thought about just a suggestion? Like, if you could be the person to help Power Platform developers build their Power BI on knowledge, like that'd be an amazing niche. Have you thought about that at
I
all?
haven't. No, no, no.
Okay.
You
I
just
mean,
said
if
it.
it's
No.
if it's something you're interested in, obviously, like no pressure at all. But if it's something you're interested in, like that would be, I'd consume your content all day. That'd be absolutely awesome. Like if you can give the give those people that bridge to not become an expert in Power BI, but to understand it to a high enough level to be able to speak about it in conversations. Like I think Power Platform developers would love you for that. So if you've got any ideas around content like that, man, let me know, and I'd love to like push it out there. That'd be
Yeah,
awesome.
and I agree with you, and I probably should have thought this sooner. So the software engineers we've got here, they're some of the most clever people I've known. There's a guy who's
Mm.
literally worked for this company for like 20 years, and he is like a savant at everything Microsoft and all coding. But when he looks at Power BI, he's like, I can't do it. I just
Yeah.
it's not written and it's not a process that makes sense to me.
Mm,
Like it will
mm.
be. If he spent time on it, he would, but he couldn't
Absolutely.
straight away go to it and pick it up, and that frustrated him. And
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I hadn't actually thought about it like that. So if I make it digestible for people who are already Power Platform literate, as it were, but
Absolutely.
want to then get the understanding of Power BI. Yeah, thank you. I'm
Just
probably going to do
just
that.
a suggestion. Honestly, I would consume that content. So yeah,
Mhm,
see if it works, see if it doesn't. If you have any questions, give me a shout. But I think that would be amazing. Honestly, I
mhm.
don't know if you've seen, but when you subscribe to my website, you get sent like a book, and it has like a. This is really cringe. I'm promoting my own book, but it's like it's a free book. And it's like a framework that you can use, and effectively, it will give you kind of the base to build your niche, and you can kind of say within the book the people you serve, etc. And yeah, it might give you a bit more insight than I can give in a 45-minute call about making content and generating your niche. But if you like, I can send it to your email and you can take a look at it. I made it like completely interactive, so you can type along. If you want to scan through it, you can scan through it too. But it might help you, it might not. Again, completely free. But yeah, just to let you know, it is out there. But yeah, I'll send it to you just so you have it. And if you find it useful, let me know.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, that is actually the only thing I haven't done is gone on your website. I don't know why. It's never even popped up onto me, but I've just scrolled through your LinkedIn and all your posts and comments and stuff. But no, I haven't done that. I have just signed
Yeah.
up as you were saying it because
Oh,
if I don't
amazing.
action something immediately, then it'll just fester in my brain.
Fair enough.
Um,
Okay, then you'll get the email of everything. So you'll get the book, you'll get like a Copilot cheat sheet. You'll also get like a video of me going through like my oh yeah, you'll get a link to my Notion page where I like get content ideas and stuff. So if you already have
oh,
your own
cool.
system, but you'll get that and you'll get a video to kind of show you how to use the page. But you can take off the stuff you don't need to use, and if you find anything useful, let me know. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, no, I know. I appreciate that. I appreciate that, and I
My
appreciate how
pleasure.
well you are at just saying like when I've said things on post, you changed it and whatever. It's so easy to talk to someone it's not criticism that I'm giving. I'm just saying, hey, have you looked at this or this? And you're so
Yeah,
easy to talk to about that because
yeah,
I
yeah,
want people to be bluntly honest with me as well. Like if someone's like,
absolutely.
mate, you've done that sentence completely wrong. What does it even mean? Like tell me that because if not, I don't know. So
Okay,
yeah, yeah.
cool.
But you can
That's
ignore
nice.
me for the next week again now. You're probably gonna see my name 100 times on your phone or on your LinkedIn
I
feed
won't
because I'm
ignore you.
commenting on your shit
Not at
anyway.
all. Not at all. Honestly, if I reply to comments the best, but if your message gets buried, please just send a follow up and say, hey, did you see the message above? Like, bother me. I don't mind. Like,
Mhm.
I wanna help you. I wanna speak with you. So you've
Yeah,
been awesome as well. So I do need to let you know that. And yeah,
thank you.
hopefully we can speak together soon. And do you go to any of these like Power Platform events or anything? Do you have anything planned?
I haven't. I don't know about any of them. The only one that I really ever get sent is because I have Power BI open all the time. It constantly tells me that I need to go to Vegas for 4 days. I'm like, well, I'd love to, but I don't think my work's going to pay for that somehow. And I also don't think I can ask the missus like, hey, is it all right if I go to Vegas for 4 days without you? It's
Yeah.
definitely for work. Wink, wink.
Yeah,
Like,
definitely for work. Yeah, she might find that a bit dodgy. It took me a while to try and convince my wife to start saving for that this year, but I'm gonna try
yeah.
and be at that one.
Are you
That's
actually
definitely the
going to
biggest
go?
one.
Okay. Yeah,
I
yeah,
want to
yeah.
go. Let's see. Let's see. Touch wood, it comes true, but let's see. I would like to
Yeah.
go. But it'd be awesome to see you. And the UK, you're based in Norwich, of course, but
Yeah.
Scotland has some awesome events. And I'm not sure how far out that is. I think that is quite far. But Scotland has some awesome events, and there's obviously these user groups all over the UK consistently. So if any pop up, I'll send them to you, and it'd be awesome to
Sure.
meet and get a coffee and actually meet in person. So that'd be
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah. Where are you from?
So I was born in London, but I live in Portsmouth.
Oh yeah, yeah. I think what's moved to Norwich? I think I'm on about 3 hours. I'm not that far north at all. I'm on the east coast. Like yeah. It's 4 hour drive. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm a lot more north
Yeah.
than you. I'm not sort of like parallel to Birmingham, but on the east coast.
Oh yeah, cool. I lived in Birmingham for a year. That was an experience.
We go to quite a lot of gigs as our family. That's music is our thing. And Birmingham was the
Oh,
worst
cool.
place I've ever driven in. It was horrid. Like London is easy comparison to Birmingham. I struggled
I
so hard.
I think they have an O2 Academy. Have you been to the O2 Academy?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. A few times.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
that I literally lived outside the O2 Academy.
Did you? Oh, cool,
Yeah,
cool.
I lived out there for a year. That was cool. But yeah, awesome. I'll let you know if any events come up. I'm trying to set up like a little user group thing in Southsea. in Portsmouth,
Mhm.
and I'll let you know if that comes through. But yeah, I need to speak to a bunch of people, including the university, and get them to pay me, not pay me, but pay for the venue and stuff. So I'm trying to
Yeah,
sort that out. But if
sponsor the
that comes
event, as
through,
it were. Yeah,
yeah, sponsor the event,
yeah,
effectively protecting my bank account.
yeah.
But yeah, that's kind of the plan. But if anything does fruit from that, I'll let you know, 100%.
Oh, if you sort one out, I'll come to it. It's
That's
only a train
awesome,
ride
man.
away. Like it's not
Love
a
that.
yeah. I'll be there.
Love that.
All
All
right.
right, awesome.
Thank you for your
Duncan.
time.
No, my pleasure. It's been a pleasure. And if you have any questions, give me a shout, please.
Yeah, we'll do. Thank you. All
Awesome.
right. Speak
Take it
soon.
easy. See you. Bye bye.